Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day. How goes the family? How goes it? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional evening and whatnot. Want to send a shout out to my brother Yasin Abera. I know he's down in either Dominican Republic or Colombia right now. So had the pleasure meeting this guy. Thank you. Greatly appreciate that, brother. You get all the love and support for that. So thank you for the support in the channel, man. And I hope everything is well with you. And I wish you well in all your current and future endeavors and all that good stuff. So I definitely wanted to send a shout out to this brother. And I got him posted up here right now, man. So thank you. Greatly appreciate that, man. It really means a lot because a lot of people, you know who the real ones are. I always ask if you can't, obviously contribute to the channel financially, a like, a share, a comment, a subscription. I'm good with either one. So I just had to let that be known. So greatly appreciate that, brother. You the man, real talk. So keep doing the great things that you're doing out there. And man, you see me on here. If you ever want to contact me, just let me know, man, and just let me know how everything's going on. So because I love to hear from other people and all that great stuff. That's why we call it Larry's Anything Goes. All right, so today is the third edition of today's forecast. We're all gonna die. Basically, I've always said this to people when they always talk about events that are happening in the world, because my biggest pet peeve with the media has always been there's always negativity happening in the world. There's no good things going on. We're all gonna die. It's everything's hopeless, and that's whether you're watching CNN, Fox News, even media overseas and whatnot. It's everything's going to hell in the handbasket. So this forecast is basically to mock the media in a sense, but I have found the actual serious subject matter that I don't think is being talked about enough, and hopefully something is being done. But I'm going to talk about certain things and go from there. But like I said, once again, want to give peace, love, and blessings to this man for contributing to the channel. I really greatly appreciate that. If you're on my TikTok, if you're on my what is it? If you're on my Twitter, if you're on my Instagram, you see that I had a good time with my 20-year high school reunion. I know I'm getting old now because I can say this 2022 marks 20 years since I graduated from high school and whatnot. So it's crazy. That's all I can say about that. But hey, it is what it is, and I'm thankful that I got to see a lot of people, connect with people, especially from an economic perspective, see what people are doing and all that great stuff. So it's all good in the neighborhood. But anyways, all right. So the first story that I'm like, one, it's not horrific, but it really just falls in the category of who cares? Okay, who cares? All right. Now, unfortunately, the former queen of the UK has passed away, so I'm not going to make light of that at all. Because any death is, it's a sadness, and blessings go out to the family. Whether I care for the people or not, I still don't. I will never ill. So, but this news actually just coincides with the former death of the Queen. Um, King Charles officially names William and Kate Prince and Princess of Wales. Who cares? Even the people that live in these specific parts of the world and whatnot, these people don't really hold much sway and influence over other people's lives and whatnot. And even if they do, from an economic standpoint, especially over here in the United States of America, who cares? The royal family means, and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not talking about anything bad about the woman who just passed away, but a royal family means nothing to me. I remember when the wedding happened between the prince and the woman who's of mixed race and whatnot, and I never forget posting, "I don't care." He gets married or doesn't get married, it's not news to me, and I don't know why it's news to anybody else. But especially a lot of females eating all that up. All right, and because King Charles is officially named William and Kate Prince and Princess of Wales, it's inspired to lead a national conversation. You know, and I'm just like, okay, what national conversation are we talking about? But on Friday, this past Friday, King Charles III made the announcement, and he talked about in the United Kingdom for the first time since Queen Elizabeth died at the age of 60. That's her name. Queen Elizabeth II died at age 96, so she lived a long and fruitful life. Clearly, um, as he was mourning in his speech, and as the loss of his mother, he also assumed new responsibilities as a monarch. And with the changing of the guard, Charles 73 assumed the role of king. He announced on Friday that his wife, Camilla, will now be called Queen Consort, and that Prince William 40 and Kate Middleton 40 will inherit the titles of Prince and Princess of Wales as of 6 p.m. local time Friday. Um, so at the end of the day, that's a lovely thing, but what does that really mean for the people of that region of the world? He states, as my heir, William now assumes the Scottish titles, which have meant so much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades. King Charles added in a speech recorded in Buckingham Palace Blue Drawing Room. And I'm just like, okay, what's that all about? But, anyways, he says, with this being said, okay, great. That's great for them. But once again, because we live in a time frame where many distractions, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from anybody and what they're doing in life, but we live in a time frame where, because we have so much access to information, so much access to technology, so much access to so many different things that we didn't really have access to 50 to 60 years ago and whatnot, we are so easily distracted on various different levels to where we are not able to make specific moves that's going to be of an economic, tangible value. That's why I'm talking about this. And like I said, I'm not making fun of the death of Queen Elizabeth II, but I am mocking the fact that, okay, these other individuals are going to be take the titles and the range. To most people, especially Americans, it just doesn't affect us. Who cares? On some realness, I just gotta call it like I see it. Okay, that's number one. Okay, and now here's the one that really falls into the category of today's forecast. We're all gonna die. Because that's, in a sense, like I said, this is basically me just mocking the media. I mock the media um on a various level. um I mock the media on the various level all the time, and it always just makes me laugh, because they're just funny all at the same time. But because of the fear mongering, regardless of the situation, they're always doing their darndest to ensure that people are scared out of their freaking mind, whatever the case may be. And to even a lot of parts of, like, I always say, the main thing is, when the media did a great job of scaring the crap out of people of owning real estate in Washington, D.C., now most working people can't afford to buy real estate in Washington, D.C. And the same thing is happening in cities like Philadelphia and cities like Baltimore, Maryland right now. So if you are in that region, now is definitely the time to buy, even though the interest rates are crazy. If you own real estate in Baltimore in the next 10 years, I guarantee the cost of living will be close to what it is in Washington, D.C. as of, I won't say now, but I'll say back during 2010, 2012 time frame. All right. I won't, but and then in another 20, 30 years, watch. Why? Because Baltimore is located, it's right off of I-95. It's very close to Washington, D.C. It's right on the Atlantic Ocean. There's a port there, and it's very close to Philadelphia, and it's right off I-95, a major highway. So you do the math. And I leave it at that. Easy access to Philadelphia, easy access to Washington, D.C., easy access to Newark, New Jersey, and New York City. You do the math from there. Okay. So, anyways, that's why I said, a lot of times, unless you just go into an all out war zone, do your own research. Don't just listen to people on YouTube either. Do your own research, do your own homework. I listen to people on YouTube, and I analyze the information, I analyze the data, and then I make a conclusive um, course of action for myself and how I get things done, from whether I'm promoting my YouTube channel, from whether I'm selling products online, from whether I'm buying rental properties and things of that nature. Do your own research, question everything. Absolutely. That's what makes America a wonderful country to live in. You have the opportunity to do that without going to jail. All right. Elon Musk makes a dire prediction about the economy. Now, you can take this with a grain of salt, because Elon Musk is great at doing one. Elon Musk and Kanye West have one great thing in common. They are great at ensuring that people are always talking about them. All right. Very intelligent people. Sometimes I agree with what they say. Sometimes I don't agree with what they say. And that's awesome. but you have to take what people say with a grain of salt, even me. All right, article says the billionaire thinks a bold move by the Fed may be more devastating to the economy than current inflation. All right. Now we know the economy is in a crazy situation right now. Inflation is at an all-time high. The gas prices aren't as crazy as they were a couple of months ago and whatnot, but for me, it didn't affect me because I know how to, have a gas card. I know how to, increase my income. I know how to save money. I know how to try to invest my money. I know how to get gas points when it comes to shopping at specific areas. My mindset is money's supposed to work for me even when I'm spending it. So if I spend money, that means I'm getting airline miles, I'm getting cashback rewards, I'm getting gas points. I'm getting something out of the deal outside of just getting the service and things of that nature. You know, um, that's why a lot of times I believe in Grant Cardone's mindset when he says cash is trash, because if you're not utilizing it in a specific manner, then it is trash. It is what it is. Outside of, you got to utilize it to live, and you got to utilize it to ensure that it grows, so you can buy more things that help you grow from an economic and asset perspective. It is what it is. So, article says soaring prices of goods and services are at their highest in 40 years, which considerably affects the purchasing power of households. And obviously, the less, we live in a consumer spending economy. I'm not acting like I'm an economist. I'm just stating the facts. We live in a consumer spending economy. So, if it affects people's spending habits, and it affects the economy all at the same time. But bear in mind, people, even in today's world, people are finding ways. You can do the data analysis, and you can go on social media. People are going out and having a good time. People are traveling. People are spending their money. All right, especially after, because people are still catching up from 2020. So you have to keep that in mind. Um, but anyways, to relieve the consumers, the Federal Reserve has embarked on an aggressive monetary policy marked by a sharp rise in interest rates. Economists warn that this monetary policy also observed in other regions of the world, particularly in Europe, with the European Central Bank risks causing a so-called hard landing for the U.S. economy. Basically, if the Fed continues to be so aggressive in the monetary tightening, it risks causing a recession. Some people would argue, and when I'm saying the Fed, I'm not talking about the federal government, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve, which is a separate entity from the federal government. We are in a quote unquote recession. Now, I'm not saying that we're in a 2008-7 recession where foreclosures were through the roof, but how's the foreclosure ban has been lifted. I'm starting to notice that certain, not the amount, the rate of foreclosures in the housing market that we saw in 2007-8, but I'm starting to see more foreclosures come on the market compared to 2 years ago when there was a ban on foreclosures. You know, People are not having the opportunity to not pay their mortgages anymore. So if you can't afford the house, and then we live in a time frame where a lot of people can't even sell the house, then unfortunately, certain periods, certain situations, people's houses will go into foreclosure. You know, and the article states while many companies have passed on their rising costs to consumers by raising the prices of their products, there are also many firms that have started to lay off workers, like Google, the parent company of the internet giant. I'm sorry, Alphabet, the parent company of the internet giant Google, has just warned that the company is likely to make layoffs in the near future to be 20% more efficient than it is today. But I still see around the country a multitude of jobs being posted on a regular basis, and the unemployment rate is not crazy now. Now, maybe in a couple of years, it could possibly be crazy. But the only thing I love about times like this is, now it's making more and more people. If the pandemic didn't, if the last economic downturn didn't, but it's making more and more people not only save more money, but try to become more financially savvy, and making more people ensure that they make themselves more valuable, not only at their job, but make themselves more valuable having a side hustle, getting more skill sets and things of that nature. So they become, if they're not valuable at the job, they'll be valuable elsewhere. And that's the thing. And it bothers me and boggles my mind that during the pandemic, so many people just took that time to just be on social media and clown around. Not saying everybody, but a good chunk of people did that, and they're paying the piper for that. Unfortunately, I'm just keeping it real. But anyways, article says the more we try to understand the microeconomy, we feel very uncertain about it. Said the CEO of Google at a 2022 annual Code conference in Los Angeles on September 6th. The microeconomic performance is correlated to ad spend, consumer spend, and so on. And if people obviously are not spending more, um, then that obviously hurts the economy and things of that nature. But I don't see this happening now. But I see them saying this because they're the only good thing that can say come from this today's forecast we're all going to die is people are trying to pay attention so they can figure out how to increase their income, to increase their savings, and to increase their asset value from their skill sets and things of that nature. Because, like I always say, the days of the 1985, I'll be good at one job for the rest of my life. Instead, it's one job the rest of my life. Those days are over with in a good economy or in a bad economy. And I think most reasonable people are not going to try to argue with that. All right. So that is my take on the today's forecast. We're all going to die. The humorous aspects of it. I don't think we're there yet until I see a multitude of foreclosures on the market, or even in my neighborhood, like I did in 2007 and 8. Then I don't believe in a lot of these articles that are even coming out. I just think it's a way to keep people in fear and keep people obedient in certain aspects, and I just leave it at that. All right. Okay, so that is to me the side of the show. I mean, side of the program where I'm mocking the media and all their entirety because it's just funny to me. And before I call it a night, I'm going to get into a very serious aspect that people do have the chance of dying. Okay, and this is a to me, a very serious topic. All right, and I think I might make it shorter on this one. What I'm about to say. I've not really talked about the unfortunate water crisis that's happening in Jackson, Mississippi. And I find it appalling that this is happening again in the United States of America as it happened in Flint, Michigan years ago. And there's just no excuse for this. And I know, quote unquote, Mississippi is not one of the richest. Like if you one thing that Mississippi and Michigan have in common is they're not the richest states in the United States of America. When you think of financially well-to-do states in the Midwest, most of the times you're thinking of not Michigan, but you're thinking of Minnesota. Um, you're thinking of Ohio. You're thinking of even Indiana and things of that nature. You're thinking of one time Michigan was, and then and even thinking of Illinois and whatnot. But you're not thinking of really Michigan, and you're darn sure not thinking about Mississippi when it comes to the South. When it comes to the richest states in the South, you're looking at states like Texas and Florida. They're the number one states that people moved to when they left the West Coast and left the East Coast and left the Midwest. It was Texas and Florida. Okay, so that's just what it is. The richest states in the country are still um, California and New York and whatnot, is even as overpriced and tax heavy as those states are. But that's just coming at it from an economic perspective, all right? But the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA Inspector General's inquiry in Jackson, Mississippi is similar to the Inspector General's involvement in Flint, Michigan. All right. The National Guard has been called out, and they're um, issuing water bottles all over the place because people. The sadness of this all is that people cannot drink the water and they cannot bathe in the water, and I cannot imagine living in that kind of third world condition on any level. Okay, that's and to me that's the most crazy thing about it and the most appalling thing about it. And I'm blown out of my freaking mind on some realness. Okay, I'm blown out of my freaking mind. you know it just I don't know how to address it anymore. It's just like this is appalling, and this is something that needs to be talked about more so, not future weddings of entertainers and quote unquote statesmen and all that other nonsense. Not what Kanye West says or what Fat Joe has to say. I really don't care what Fat Joe has to say. I think most of what he has to say is nonsense to begin with. And I'm a guy who grew up listening to Fat Joe's music, but I think I'm going to make a video, if not tomorrow, then definitely Tuesday, why BET really shouldn't even be in existence anymore at this point. Because it just doesn't, to me, BET doesn't even live up to its name like it used to when I was growing up. But I'm gonna get into more detailed about that on another video. I think it's just I think it's an obsolete channel at this point for the most part. So and I'll leave it at that. But because they like, but anyways, back to Mississippi. Like I said, let me get back to the important stuff. You know, um, The article says the team of Environmental Protection Inspector Agency, they're in Jackson. They last week they went to Jackson, Mississippi to start their investigation. And they're interested and concerned about what is happening in Jackson, Mississippi. Um, Last week, they began sending OIG personnel to collect data and conduct interviews. And over the coming week, they expect to announce the work related to the city's um, water system. I hope that translates to um, issuing federal dollars specifically to that city government to ensure if that can legally happen, to ensure that they can freaking replace the water system as soon as possible. So years later, we're not still talking about Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have running water. Anyways, the Inspector General's office is staffed by teams of auditors, evaluators, and criminal investigators. The office did not say which specific teams were deployed to Jackson, Mississippi. In recent years, and we know that this has been happening for years on end in regards to what's happened in Jackson, Mississippi. That's the sad part. This isn't a thing that just happened overnight. It just spiraled overnight, unfortunately. In recent years, the issues with Jackson's water system have come under scrutiny from state and federal regulatory officials who have flagged problems ranging from inadequate staffing at the city's main water treatment plant to delays in carrying out needed repairs. Residents recently experienced a days-long outrage of running water. Even now, more than 150,000 residents in Mississippi's capital. This is a state capital, which makes it even sadder. Um, Still lack clean drinking water. The governor said that on Friday that the citywide boil water notice in effect since July 29 was unlikely to be lifted over the weekend. The Inspector General's inquiry in Jackson is similar to the EPA's involvement in Flint. I already stated that the EPA should strengthen its oversight of state drinking water programs to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the agency's response to drinking water contamination emergencies. Because at the end of the day, I don't care because I know, unfortunately, what's happening now. It's the political nonsense, which like I can't stand it anymore on either side that they're having their boxing match. That's the best way to put it, between governor and mayor, and instead of and then point having the blame game instead of just looking at. I don't like the blame game. I like the resolution game. You know what I mean? What's the resolution? Because that's why it's a rarity I even have anybody on my channel, because I'm not going to argue with another person, even if we agree to disagree. Okay, awesome. But that argument needs to be about something viable, especially economically viable. Because I'm like, okay, if you have a better way, show me. Because I don't want to argue about nothing unless there's a tangible value involved. Like a lot of people, if I was a politician, sure. If I was on the debate team, sure. I'm neither one. Don't want to be neither one. So therefore, I don't want to argue over things that doesn't increase my intelligence, increase my value, increase my economics. That's the best way to put it. Okay. Um, but at the end of the day, the Inspector General's Jackson review will start with conversations with local, state, and federal players who have a role in overseeing public resources dedicated to ensuring residents have clean water. While the problems with the water in Jackson are not new, the Inspector General's decision to begin a probe so soon after the crisis hit boiling point appeared significant to Eric Olson, the Senior Strategic Director of Health and Food at the National Resource Defense Council, who said it could prove to be a large step forward for the bungled oversight of the Flint water crisis. And my mindset is, at the end of the day, where is you have the investigation, but where is the resolution? All right, that's just at the end of the day. Where's the funding? What is the resolution? This is the stuff that's the most important right now, because when people can't, especially in the United States of America, can't take a shower, have to have bottles and bottles of water in order to wash themselves up and to drink, it's insane. Like, if you even see the pictures, it's insane. And the article ended on this note, because I wasn't going to be on too long tonight. But Mississippi's legislature allocated $450 million of the state's share of federal funds from the 2021 American Rescue Plan, COVID-19 relief package, to water infrastructure improvements. Mississippi water utilities were able to begin applying for that money last week. Okay, with requests for funding due by September 30th. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Mississippi received a certain amount of money from the federal government, and I think the federal government did a great job in doing that. But what are the local officials? Because this is a local problem. What are they doing about the problem? They got the money, so where's the execution? All right. Mississippi is receiving roughly 75 million in EPA funds to improve drinking water and waterway systems across the state, according to a December 2021 EPA funding announcement. It's unclear how much of those funds are focused on Jackson. You think a lot of those funds would be focused on the state capital because that's where the governor's mansion resides, unless I'm just whistling Dixie, as they say. No pun intended. But anyways, on that note, I find it to be a deplorable situation. um, Hey, what's up, Chris? How you holding up, brother? I find it to be a deplorable situation, um, and I just don't understand how anybody could sleep at night, especially if you're a state official down there. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't know how anybody could be a official, state official, local official in any part of Mississippi and be good with this whole situation. I just don't see it. And I'm just gonna keep it real on that aspect. I don't see how anybody could be good with that whole situation. And before I call it a night, sorry about that, Chris. I was busy. If you want to add your 2 cents on this before I call it a night, please do so. But that's just real. At the end of the day, that is just real. And like you said, Chris is right. It sounds like the Flint, Michigan all over again. And unfortunately, that's what it is. The local players have dropped the ball, and in Michigan, it was a messy situation because of the blame game. I'm like, what are we paying you for, especially local officials, if you want to be like little kids with the blame game? It's just like when Chris in Texas, they were doing the blame game when the power went out. It's like I said, I'm just thinking about that now. Okay, when all them Texans had to burn their stuff to be able to get warm, and people were froze overnight and whatnot. People didn't want to play. People wanted to play the blame game instead of play the let's fix this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll leave it at that. What's up, Chris?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm getting emotional over here. Let me stop playing. I'm just
Nah, no, you
it's,
talk that shit.
mm, mm, mm.
Talk that shit because people didn't know.
It's ridiculous, man. It's like, come on now. I don't care if I held a seat in any state that's going through this. There's no way I could sleep at night. I don't care what party what you believe in, what you don't believe in. There's no way. There's just no way. But
Well, my thing is when it comes to politics, to me, um, one for certain areas, like you're too old to be ready for office. You should be retiring,
amen to that.
and for some, you should have definitely term limits. Period. Uh, Nationwide, no matter how local, state, country, term limits.
Absolutely,
Get
I
some
agree.
fresh minds in there,
I
because what
agree.
because just like what's going on with Flint, Michigan, after all this time, they still ain't got their stuff fixed yet.
Yep. All these years,
Hmm. And,
years
and
later,
and like the state governor is asking for federal aid. The federal aid, I think it did come through, but
it did,
nothing got resolved.
and
Then
it
you
let
get
you.
your then you get
I'm
your
sorry. Go ahead.
politics in Flint. Because I'm okay. The state of Michigan is one thing because I'm still hearing about some blackouts still going out in Detroit.
Yep.
So, but then you got Flint with the whole water thing. Their politics, state politics over there, still ain't get that stuff fixed up. And all it is that they have to go through every single house in Flint, Michigan, and they have to physically change their pipes,
That's
physically,
crazy.
physically change their pipes, and then go to their facilities and work on a new filtration system to clear it out. Now, obviously, bottom line, it always comes down to money,
Of
and
course.
that one is going to be an expensive one. I think I've heard of like uh to get all that done in a time frame
Hmm.
close to like $500 million.
Jesus.
And the way we're burning money nationwide, that's tough to gather up for that, especially now because obviously you live in DC area, the DOD, that's nation's cash cow. In my opinion, everybody don't want to take a defense cut on that. That would solve a lot of problems with that. But we're not gonna get into that. The thing is that with Flint, Michigan, $500 million, at least $500 million, if everything goes out well, to get that situation fixed up. That ain't been done. Now, Jackson, Mississippi is in a situation that, to me, is either equivalent to Flint or even worse, in my opinion. That I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, I think it's costly. I know Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, he doing
Right.
everything he can with the people at Jackson State.
Exactly.
Especially with he got his team, he got him in the hotel. He trying to do what he can. He using his own money for it, and that means a lot. Especially Jackson State is a PCU. That means a lot because he's not only talking and talk, but ever since he on football, I should say, he been walking the walk.
Right.
And I think a lot of people should take that as example. Like, okay, obviously politics is failing us. We got to find a way to get it done. And anybody that live in Jackson, Mississippi, that has money to offer or even time to try to help fix some of these things,
Right.
it goes a long way. But it's a messy situation, and just like a year and a half ago with the whole power grid going down here in Texas, that that still ain't been fixed yet.
It's not.
Not really. Not really.
Oh my! So what happened last year could possibly happen again this year.
Yep. And the problem the problem is that the state of Texas has its own electrical grid. And what I mean by that is all of our neighboring states, Oklahoma,
Louisiana.
New Mexico, if we ran, if they went out, if they have a power outage, they can't get power from us.
Right.
Like the neighbor said, and then vice versa. We were out of power. As much as we would wanted to get power from them, we can't because our state's a closed circuit, which means it's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
Well, Texas wants to be its own country, so
I guess I see that. But we talked about this at a previous episode also. Anyway, you know how like my boy Ted Cruz, he's a bad man when he left.
You talking about that time when he went to Mexico? He's like, all right, I'm done with this not having power thing. So let me go to the airport where the power was on, and let me go, let me fly out of here.
Bad man. I ain't gonna lie, if I had the money, I would have done the same thing too. But
the difference between you and him is you're not a
public
representative
official
of the people. Yeah,
So. I'm not a public official. And that's
the only thing I like about him is that at least he's true to who he is. Even like I just love people that are real. Even if I don't agree with you, just as long as you who you are, and I don't have to guess, then I'm cool.
Oh yeah,
I don't have to like you, but I can at least respect you a little bit more because at least you're living true to who you are, and he lives in his truth. And if people want to keep voting for him, then so be it. I mean, it is what it is.
I can't knock that. I mean, he's an asshole, and I'm like, okay, well, if he admits he's an asshole, all right with me.
He is who he is. I can respect that. So it doesn't mean I gotta like it, but I can respect it. I'm around jerks all the time, and then I'm like, hey, if I don't particularly care for your company, but at least I know who you are, I respect you, but I'm still gonna walk away from you.
The beauty from working from home.
Oh, absolutely. And that's been thank you, COVID, because that made my dream come true, and life is so much better. And that's why I'm even on here tonight to be able to do this. Because life before COVID, I would have had to been in bed by now because I would have to get up at 4 a.m. to beat traffic. So yeah. But on a lighter note, did you enjoy the videos and pics from the high school reunion?
I did, man. I did. From everybody that I saw through social media and everything, and that meant a lot. Unfortunately, ironically, even if my situation didn't happen, I probably still would have been able to make it to the reunion because my wife's reunion was this past July.
Got you.
So I was actually flying up there for that.
Got you. Yeah, I remember you was
So
telling me about that.
yeah, I was gonna fly back for her reunion and everything like that, But it was good to see familiar faces and everything like that. I'm like, man, like I said, wish I could be there, but because of my situation, well, two situations I should say. The one
Right.
a few months ago, the one next month, I had to, priority kick that family got first.
Oh yeah, I understand that
So
completely. Like
that
I
was one
said,
of
you were
those.
you were there in spirit. It was a. I didn't even think it was going to be a great time, but I did have a blast. So
Yeah,
I
big
thought
up to
Dennis was
Mike
going to be
Askew.
there, but I guess he didn't get the permission slip signed. Um,
Yeah, big up to Mike, Faith Dickens, Altonese. Is big up to them. Y'all did y'all thing out there. Like I said, I apologize I was able to make it, but y'all did y'all thing. Uh,
they truly did.
ob- obviously, obviously, we don't know what tomorrow holds. So maybe another 10 years, and we all kick it and everything like that. Without no cane, crutches, and maybe hair. We gotta do it up. But it was beautiful, man. It was a good thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Why and before I call it a night, so you hear about the whole controversy in hip hop going on, right? Right now,
Nah, well, what?
with people saying that basically African Americans didn't start hip hop; it was started by um, the look on your face. And look, and we got family and slash are from New York, so we know what it is. But it's just the funniest thing ever now, and the fact that Fat Joe and Buster Rhymes are saying what they're saying. I'm just like, look, I love you guys. I've always been a fan of you guys, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And in this subject matter, y'all are wrong.
What,
Like,
man? Please tell me
say what?
what. What did they say?
Okay, so Buster Rhymes basically said that Jamaicans created hip hop. He didn't say no, we help contribute to hip hop. He said we created it. And Fat Joe was saying that Latinos were always there from the beginning. I'm not getting in a race. I don't have an issue with Latinos. I don't have an issue with Jamaicans. And I'm putting that out there now. But there are specific videos and songs that show African Americans rapping, African Americans breakdancing. This goes back to the freaking 30s and 40s and 50s and whatnot. Okay. I even take it back to the early 70s with Dolomite and whatnot. Okay. But
Yeah.
and nobody's disparaging any other race's contributions to the music. But the fact that you say you started something, that's just not true. And so now everybody's been going back and forth online about that. I even made a video about that. You remember the movie Do the Right Thing, right? Radio Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember when he showed up when the Puerto Rican brothers were on the stoop playing their salsa music, and when
Yep.
Radio Raheem came up with Fight the Power and whatnot, and they looked like they was about to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And they did back then, people did the boom boxes, battles
Oh
and
yeah.
whatnot. See who had the loudest boom boxes and whatnot. And I always loved that. That was the best of the best. But it's just, and everybody's getting into feelings about this subject matter. I'm like, look, right is right and wrong is wrong. It
I
is what it is.
I will say it is because just the way how my family is. Okay,
Right,
my dad's side of family, at least the closest one that I'm close with,
right.
is from the Bronx,
Got you.
where it's historically stated that the Bronx started it.
Right.
Now, my mom's side of family is from Queens, where everybody says Queens make.
Queens get the money.
Okay, so it's like I'm so hip hop was, and then at the time when we were younger, I forgot the radio station was, but Donnie Simpson was up in New York before he came to DC.
Right.
So we knew about just the music, just the music and the culture, everything like that, from graffitiing to the breakdance and everything like that. Uh, I mean, heck, just sitting on the stoop with the Chinese food and stuff
Exactly.
and everything. We knew all that stuff. I mean, even with the had the big old monkey wrench popping up with the fire hydrant with the water and everything like that, because we couldn't afford to get to the water parks.
Hmm.
And shoot, it's now granted it's not no Flint, Michigan or Jackson, Mississippi, but that was some dirty ass water too.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck
But
yeah. Heck
well,
yeah.
at that time. At that time, our skin was able to handle some of that stuff. We didn't care. We just wanted it was hot summers, everything.
Oh,
But
yeah.
just the fact that Fat Joe and I categorize his history because of the Bronx. He definitely he made a statement with the Bronx, and then Busta Rhymes. What can you say about him? Everything has been, and there's a footage I actually seen it years ago. I'm gonna say maybe 30s, 40s, where you're hearing um, Black Americans. They're singing,
Right.
but there's one dude that's actually rhyming.
Rhyming. Thank you.
Okay, and his cadence was on point. To look like, huh? It's almost like he was almost a embodiment of what Bone Thugs was when they came out.
Literally.
He had the cadence, he had the rhyme, and the flow, and then all of a sudden, the three other his friends came in and started singing and dancing.
Yes, sir. A
So
combination.
it was so. I
Thank
guess
you.
in now because of the actual sound of the music, not the word. Illustrate that at the beginning of hip hop.
Right.
Now, there's a show. It was 2 seasons on Netflix. Get Down.
Right.
Nas produced it.
Hmm.
Uh, that right there kind of solidified how hip hop kind of started. Music, but you got your turntables, you got your records, and they're showing you. Uh, there's a character that's actually playing. That's actually supposed to descript Grandmaster Flash,
Right.
and he's showing this new guy how to mix, how to scratch, how to make one melody of a disco song
Right.
into what we called hip hop.
Right.
So, and that was back in the '70s. Grandmaster Flash, Black American,
Thank you.
he did that.
And they act like that. They said that DJs the two turntables only comes from Jamaica. I'm like, that's false.
Yeah,
That's false. They got pictures and videos of Black Americans doing the same thing as far as having two turntables and whatnot because they'd have their own little mix. Now, were they mixing like the DJs in Jamaica? Most likely no,
Mm,
but but they had their own little mix because the majority of the music at that time, like you said, was R&B music, was
and
disco
disco.
music,
Yeah.
and things of that nature and whatnot.
hmm And then and Bus, man, this hurts because I love Bus. I
Say
love
that's why I
Bus.
said I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
I
Because he
love
even
Bus.
says the thing that ticks me off the most about it's not even him saying that they started it, but he says he doesn't even he only feels more comfortable around his Caribbean brethren and whatnot. And I want to say, Negro, we didn't even know you was Jamaican until like your fifth album.
Oh man, I love Bus, but he's so far from the truth. He's so
I'm just
far from the
like,
truth.
you're so talented, but I'm like, brother, let's keep it real. Nobody knew you or your little pal, whatnot. I didn't even know he was from Trinidad until I saw them on the 85 South show.
hmm
Because y'all
Yeah,
didn't make it known. Y'all weren't wearing the flags. You weren't representing. You weren't
and to
bringing any
me,
slang or patois in your music, and you would have never been brought. Quite honestly, if it wasn't for the Black American artists and whatnot, nobody would have blew you up.
and if it wasn't for Q-Tip,
Q-Tip, yeah, thank you,
to me, leader new school. I love the music, but it wasn't for Tribe and the
thank you,
scenario.
thank you,
Bust the one that got the break he got.
thank you.
Bust the one that got the break he got. Fat
That's when the
Joe.
world really noticed who he was. It wasn't
hmm
even that group he was in.
Yeah. Now as Fat Joe, he did have his album come out before anything
Right,
else.
right,
But one thing came to Fat Joe. I have to give him the most respect when it comes to digging up his brothers.
right.
Is that he already had a record deal. He already was getting things moving. He actually was independent before independent wasn't even known back then.
Right.
But when he found out about Pun
Right.
and basically running laps around him, that Joe did take a step back. Like, I put my career on hold because I need to make sure he gets his stuff out there and do his thing. Now at the same time, it also kind of killed Pun as well because Pun was getting money so fast, and because he didn't really eat
Right.
like you wanted to when you're younger and everything like that. You want to try everything. That also helped with the weight gain as well.
Exactly. And the thing
So
is, Pun was more of a star than Fat Joe. Not taking away from Fat Joe's lyricism or
yeah,
anything of that nature, but Pun was more of a. I didn't know who Fat Joe. I saw him in the video. Okay, don't want to be a player. I didn't know who the heck he was.
yeah. Now Joe was doing things. Okay,
I'm not saying he
I'll say
wasn't
this.
doing. I'm just saying. I mean, I agree. I know he was doing
He
things.
was
I'm just saying me. I did not know who Joe was until Pun came out.
Yeah. Now I think back then Joe was getting he's making moving numbers, but he was local. You had to
Thank you.
live in
Yeah,
New York.
exactly.
You had to
Yeah,
live
to
in New
really
York to
know.
actually know what Joe was about musically.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
because I was in the Bronx, I knew what the real Terror Squad was about too, and they were no joke.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No one's taking that away from them whatsoever.
They were no joke on that one. But when Pun came out, he realized, okay, I'm gonna fall back. I need to help him get his shine, and he always stayed true with that. But for him, I'm yeah, that hurts too because also when it comes to hip hop is just not the music; it's the graffiti, it's the break dancing,
Exactly.
especially Crazy Legs with the break dancing. I gotta give Crazy Legs his props on that too because he was out there. And I think Crazy Legs. I could be wrong on this one. Please forgive me if anybody corrects me on this one. I think he is Latin as well, or he part Latin.
Well, no, Crazy Legs is Puerto Rican, but the
Okay.
thing is, and he in the beautiful thing about Crazy Legs, because the beautiful, and I respect like the Puerto Rican brethren who have come out besides Fat Joe and said because the ones that were there in the beginning, but before Fat Joe
Mm-hmm.
even existed as far as a rapper goes, they said, hey, look, our people made fun of us for hanging out with black people.
Yes, that is
Our
definitely
people,
true.
yeah, they because they call in Spanish, it's either especially Puerto Rico, they call us caculos,
Mm-hmm.
morenos,
Mm-hmm.
we our generation, the 80s babies, we had more of a more of a kumbaya when it came to just growing up around various other races and whatnot. But our parents and our grandparents and great grandparents, it was a totally more of a separate, segregated world. And
Yep.
people and like, look, I'm not a racist. Everybody knows me. I'm cool with everybody. If you're a good person,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
good. I'm
definitely.
good with you. I don't have a problem with no race. I don't like jerks, but that comes in all races. So
That is true.
so I can say that online. But let's just be realistic about it. The world that
Mm-hmm.
we grew up in is not the world that we know
They
that
grew
our
up.
parents and grandparents
Yep.
grew up in, and it was
Oh
way
yeah.
more segregated. Even if like legally it wasn't segregated, but just from a cultural standpoint, the world was just segregated. And most people, when they immigrate to the U.S., what kind of music are they going to want to listen to? Their
When
home
you say,
country's music.
yep, exactly,
They're going to, so if you
exactly.
came from Puerto Rico, you're not really trying to listen to hip hop. You're listening to your local region, salsa, merengue music and whatnot. And even
Hmm.
and I can say this because the pioneers who were of Puerto Rican and Cuban descent said that. And you
Hmm.
can look this up online. You ain't got to take my word for it. They said that, yeah, when they saw the Black Americans doing that, it's like, yo, I want to be a part of that. The Crazy Legs and the other people involved in one. They wanted to be a part of it. So no one's ever taken away people's contribution, just like people of African descent have contributed to various musics, i.e., rock and roll, i.e., what is it, salsa, merengue, and things. And they always talk about, yeah, the Afro
Hmm.
Cubanos, the Afro Latinos, and whatnot from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic,
Yep.
making their African contributions to the music and whatnot. It's always talked about on a regular basis, but
And you know what?
they weren't the founders of the music though.
And you know what's sad about all this stuff like this? Um, the the generation after us, the younger kids that are in hip hop now. Granted,
Right.
their music sucks.
Yes.
Their music sucks, but they're doing something that I wish our generation did and
What's that?
generation before did. They're not categorizing their music, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's go to different genres. You don't hear nobody saying anything on a massive scale negatively about rock and roll.
Right.
You're not. I'm true. It's just me being down here in Texas. I don't hear nobody say anything disrespectful or national scale about country music.
Right.
I mean, hell, Fox right now got a show called Monarch. It's basically the country version of Empire.
Basically. Yeah.
And I just heard already that show it got more views than the first episode of Empire ever did.
I believe it.
So I'm like, and here's the thing with country music. To me, from what I'm seeing so far, if the music's good, people gonna like it. There is I can't think of his name, but it's a black guy that does country music as well. And not Hootie and the Blowfish, that not him, but with somebody
Yeah,
else.
Darius Rucker.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was somebody else. He actually probably about our age and everything like that. But
Right.
he does country music, and it's actually not that bad
Right.
and stuff like that. But you don't hear nobody say anything bad about it. And what's even sadder is that before he wants to go figure out what the hell he wants to do with his music, Lil Nas X, his first song, I consider that was a country song, and everybody
Yeah.
actually liked it before he started going way left on his thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Because
you just don't hear nobody saying bad about other genre. But when it comes to hip hop, we always
right.
have something bad to say, or like, oh no, we started this or we started that. I'm like, no, it's here. It's almost 50 years old.
Right.
We got a bunch of catalog of music. We got to the point now that we got people that we can say, okay, he sucks.
Yes.
We ain't gotta be like when it first came out. Okay, we gotta for everybody to make it last. Now we got the point like, okay, he sucks. They're wrong. That's evolution of music, period,
Exactly.
and that's how it should be. So I don't even want to even hear what Buster got to say because, or Fat Joe got to say, and their their opinion does matter because they have been a part of hip hop for so long.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to understand that for hip hop to move forward and to the way it is right now, like on a marketing scale, as a monetizing scale and everything like that,
Right.
you got to let some things go. You gotta just like, okay, your opinion, keep that to yourself because it's
I
not
agree.
really going to help. Now you're going to start having a feuding and stuff like you're going to have people start discussing lists and everything like that instead of getting to the core. Instead of getting to the core, like how can we get our music better? We got
Mm,
whack rappers, literally
exactly.
whack rappers that's
Yes.
getting paid good money to
Yes.
to advertise their whack music on various brands. I mean, prime example, another example, Little Nas X. I don't like his music at all besides Old Town Road. But he is now a marketing ambassador for Taco
Right.
Bell.
Right.
So he's a marketing ambassador
Unfortunately.
for Taco Bell. Uh, Nas, which he should be being like partner with more stuff besides Hennessy. I don't know why we so synonymous with alcohol in that
Right.
case, but he's making money off of that though. But Jay went a whole different route, and he
right.
basically got his own company that you don't even see get promoted on TV, but you know it's making sales. Duce, not Armadillo, that was gone, but Duce Cognac
Right.
is making a lot of money and everything like that, but you don't see that on TV or anything like that. So I'm like, we got to find ways to help embrace or enhance hip hop, enhance the culture, and
I
get some
agree.
people that doesn't have that passion for the music, get them out because they're making
Exactly.
money. But as you know, and I know, when it comes to us being entrepreneurs, everything like that, money is everything. It's our passion that's going to get us moving forward to that.
Exactly.
So,
And you said the number one word, passion, because unfortunately, because there's so many bad artists out here nowadays, the passion for a lot of it is faded because the best thing about us, the way, in our generation, it wasn't perfect, but the best thing about our generation, at least we did not grow up with the cell phones and the Instagram, click culture. So your music had to be good for your music to really go places. Now we had our peep ratchetry music. We had
Yeah.
our, it wasn't perfect and whatnot, but to really be popular and whatnot, you had to have a message. No
I,
Limit had to have a message. Cash Money had to have a message. Even though they'd have their gangster songs and the booty popping songs, you listen to their albums because that's what people did back then. Now people just listen to one or two
I,
songs. You had to have some sort of a message in regards to, okay, I came up hard and I'm doing this music because of XYZ. It ain't cool to just be in the hood and shoot at people and sell drugs and whatnot. I'm doing this so I can escape and whatnot. And then the
I
beautiful thing is
will.
our generation, we had more of a variety of music.
That's
I always
yes.
say this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you could be from New Orleans, you didn't sound like you was from Texas. If you
That's
were from
yeah. Oh,
Texas, you
that's
didn't
definitely
sound like
true.
you was from Atlanta. And that's
That's
the
definitely
South.
true.
If you were from Florida, you didn't sound like you was from Atlanta. If you was from LA, you didn't sound like you was from Oakland. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you was from New York, you didn't sound like you was from Jersey.
Yeah.
You was from Philadelphia, you didn't sound like you was from New York.
Now, to you're right. You're right on this. I will say to certain people, I wish we saw footages of their stuff, their creative thoughts a lot sooner.
Yes,
Like
agreed.
No Limit, I wanted to see that while I was uh, a young teenager going to toe to door, not a parent
Right,
that's about to be 40 in about 2 years.
right,
I wanted to see, okay, like because I think between when Master P put that Chronicles out there on
right.
BET, which BET is another thing we ain't get into, but
Tune in later this week. I'm going all in on the new BET because the BET we grew up with is not the BET of today. So
yeah, but especially when Snoop uh got to No Limit,
right,
and we heard the stories of how Snoop actually got out of Death Row to get to uh, to No Limit. I
hmm
wanted to see that sooner because we were all talking about, like, from Doggy Style to the
hmm
Dogfather.
right,
Then um, going to No Limit, the games be sold not to be the games be told not to be no games be sold not to be told, and then Top
right,
Dog, then The Last Meal. We're like, wait, how did he transition from that? Because we heard stories about
right.
how crazy Death Row is and everything like that, but we know the whole thing. And then
Exactly.
a year and a half ago, we found out what Master P did for Snoop, just
Right,
off the feature alone, where Snoop only wanted like $1,500 because he had no money. Master
right,
P gave him a check for 35,000.
right,
And then what we didn't know in the background back then is that Snoop was making an album called F Death Row with Mac
right.
10 Who Banging,
hmm
which I don't know how that was going to work out because Mac at that time they were still banging. Snoop's the Crip, Mac 10's the Blood,
Right.
but business is business, so to speak.
Well,
And
that's the West Side Connection. Dub C was a Crip,
and then
so
yeah, and then
that
Cube
and
also
that
was
wa-
cool.
yeah, and that's why a lot of times when they talk about, Nipsey and YG, I think people forget about that. It's like when Mac 10 and Snoop Dogg made records together,
Hmm.
and they showed solidarity. West Side Connection, that showed solidarity, and Ice Cube was always neutral in that aspect.
Yeah.
So,
So
that's that. But and it because and not to cut you off, but the saddest thing about Death Row is if Suge Knight would have actually been the Master P of the West Coast instead of trying to be the fake gangster of the West Coast. Suge Knight, I think, would not only not be in jail right now, but I think that even let's just say when he got out the last time, right? And if he would have just got himself together, started building, he had an empire he could have took out beyond music. But
yeah,
he was too busy. He was so financially illiterate that he was too busy showing off and leasing stuff and not buying stuff. He could have bought up most of Compton.
and I'm gonna add on to that too
He could have
because
bought
there
up
is
half of freaking Los Angeles
yeah.
and commercial buildings and
Hmm.
actual properties and whatnot, investing in the freaking chains. He could have did the stuff that Nipsey Hussle was doing, and he
Hmm.
could have and had that economic stronghold. Okay, and then he could have with that he could have expanded and like to other genres of things and making movies like Diddy and P and
Now,
clothes. The Death Row brand was that strong. to turn it in like from a Sean
And
John to a Death Row brand.
and I'm gonna
To
add on
video
to that as well.
games.
I'm
To
gonna add
I
on to that
mean,
as well
just
because there's a rumor. There was a rumor of a big meeting going on where, in fact, that and this is why I said we got to stop competing with each other in hip hop. Okay,
and everything.
so at the time, Rap a Lot, Jay
Jay
Prince,
Prince. Yeah.
Suge Knight, Master P,
Mm-hmm.
Dame Dash, and Puff. The rumor had that they were in some club or some building in Houston. They all had a conversation with each other all at the same time. And I'm talking about this like not saying it's mafia time, but just like on some corporate business deals.
Right.
They were all talking about we got all this money together. And this is something big, especially we have Suge and Puff in one room together too.
Yep.
After the whole Biggie Tupac thing.
Yep.
Jay Prince had a proposition. How about all of us combine our resources and make our own distribution conglomerate?
Exactly.
That's what was supposed to happen. That's what wanted to happen. Um, now here's the part where I say this is a rumor because nothing's been confirmed, and I don't think anybody's gonna say anything about it because you gotta have more facts for it. But the one person
Right.
that shut all that stuff down allegedly was Jay-Z because of issues
Well, I
between
mean,
because issues
him
between
and
him and Dame,
Damon.
and Jay-Z shut the
I
whole thing down.
I could see that. I mean, I'm not gonna take anything away from what Jay-Z's done, but at the end of the day, Jay-Z is Jay-Z first, regardless of anything
Yeah,
situation, and that's just what it is.
yeah.
But
So
I
let's
think that would have been a great thing. But I think the problem is, let's just say hypothetically, let's say Jay-Z never got involved in that, right? Said, okay,
mhm,
y'all, you guys do y'all. Or unfortunately, something bad happened to Jay-Z where he couldn't even perform in the music industry anymore, right? Or he
mhm,
just, let's say he didn't exist. We know that the attitude of Suge Knight would have found a way to screw it up because his ego was so big and inflated, unfortunately, that he could not keep his cool. Because I'm the guy that was rooting for him all the time. Because I'm like,
mhm.
look, when he got out, I said, okay, get your stuff together. See, LA
Yeah,
wouldn't even be in the mess that it's in right now if he would have just did right.
yeah. I
That's the
agree.
thing people don't talk about enough. It's like Dame Dash owns real estate in New York, even to this day. He owns businesses in New York, even to this day. He employs people in New York, even to this day.
Mhm.
Diddy, same thing, even to this
Yep,
day. As expensive as that freaking city and state is, and the outrageous taxes and whatnot, they still do it to this day because they know people depended on
yep.
from an economic perspective. And the thing is, with Suge Knight, people were depending on you, but you
Mhm.
were too busy being the tough guy. Jay Prince is a freaking billionaire right now. Really, he's a quiet billionaire. He owns his own.
Yeah.
He owns two islands right now. He's been
Mhm.
targeted on multitude of occasions and whatnot. But the biggest gangster to me is him because he breaks the law. It's because he knows how to keep his cool.
Yep. And I'm learning all about him down here for sure.
And I know, yeah, you darn in Texas, you darn sure. But that's the
Mhm.
thing, like the moves that Jay Prince made. He even owns real estate in New York, in freaking California, businesses in New York, in California, and whatnot.
Mhm.
Okay, and the problem is, I mean, the beautiful thing about Jay Prince is like he owns two islands off of in Belize. The thing about
I
Jay
heard
Prince
about
is,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's the quiet gangster.
Mhm.
Because to me, the biggest gangster is the one that can write a check, not the one that can shoot a gun.
Yep.
And that's what he's proven. And if Suge Knight would have stuck to writing them checks and promoting businesses, he had a mecca in Los Angeles. He had a mecca, Chris. He had a mecca, and
Yeah.
he
He
screwed it
did.
up.
He did. Hey.
He screwed it up
Yeah. He did.
because of his ego. That whole beef with Diddy, that was because of his ego. Because people were talking about him and Biggie, and they weren't just talking about Death Row anymore. He didn't beef
Yeah.
with anybody else on the East Coast, not Wu Tang, not Mob. Well, they beef with Mob Deep, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
But they wasn't messing with Ted. That's
Yeah,
we,
that would have been a bloodbath. So
yeah.
we already know what that's about. But
Mhm.
yeah, then he wanted to beef with Master P when he got out of jail. and he just
And
kept.
that's
That's
funny.
just
He didn't have the and that's what's smart. If it is true what they no, it had to be true because they had to do it for Snoop. I don't know why Suge had to try to beef with Master P when uh when P gave him $2 million
right,
and Snoop had to lead his name Snoop Doggy Dog. That's
right,
still well not anymore, but that was property of Death Row. That's why he
exactly,
just stuck with Snoop Dogg.
exactly,
So
exactly.
I don't know why he got mad about it because he got paid.
Well, it was about the power at that point,
And
just
yeah,
like
that
when in the 50 Cent his first or second official video, in the club and whatnot. He
mhm,
he he walked in there. Bizarre told this story from D12. He walked in
mhm.
there with
I
about
heard
50
about this one.
Mexicans with his cigar in hand and whatnot, ready to fight. And 50 Cent ain't no punk, so he's like, "What's up?"
Oh, he's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you look at 50 Cent today and look what Suge Knight is at today. Even 50 Cent, a guy that bona fide comes from the streets. That's what even ticks me off the most about Suge Knight. He didn't come from the street. He might have came from the hood and whatnot, but he went to college. He went to Las Vegas. All right.
Hmm.
He actually played a couple of games in the NBA in NFL.
Yeah,
That's what ticks me off about Suge Knight. He had a better upbringing than Master P and 50 Cent. Both parents in the household, middle class family to live in Compton or whatnot, because Compton actually used to be a nice place to live. You know,
hmm,
he didn't come from that life. That's the thing. But he
yeah,
wanted to be a part of that life, and that's my only biggest pet peeve with Suge. Because if he just his own attorney said, very smart guy. If he'd left that stuff alone,
yeah,
who knows what he would be today. Look, 50
exactly.
Cent left that stuff alone. Look where my man is a big Hollywood mogul. He ain't got to make
Oh
no
yeah,
music anymore. He's a
look,
big Hollywood
look.
mogul.
M and Dre put it when M found Fifth, he went to took it to Dre immediately,
Right, exactly.
and they were like, "Make your music, stick with the music."
Yep,
And Dre and both promised him, listen, you do this right, you ain't ever gotta go back to where you came from.
exactly.
And he rolled with that to the point that Jimmy Iovine helped him out to get that Reebok deal. Now
Exactly.
remember,
Exactly.
his GU sneakers, they wasn't the best looking sneakers around,
Nope.
but it was popular because it was partnership with him with GU sneakers, and then Jay followed afterward with the S. Carter sneakers. But
Exactly.
50 said the biggest check he ever got in his life at one time was from Reebok. It was $80 million.
$80
It was
million.
like
dollars.
for his shoes. Then out of the sudden, with his signing bonus, this is what 50 was smart about. With his signing bonus, he used that to trademark G Unit, got the clothes out immediately. So when they
Yep.
started going on the tour, uh, what was that tour? Uh, the Smoke Tour, something like that.
Up in smoke.
Up in Smoke Tour. This is before his album came out, so he was touring stuff like that, promoting all his mixtape songs. He
Right.
had his unit clothes ready to go.
Exactly.
The deal with the sneakers was coming out right after his album dropped and everything like that. So he had a plan in place, and
Exactly.
and at the same time he said he was learning as he went along, but
Right.
he put people in place to
Thank you.
help him get there. He didn't have to do
Exactly.
it by himself. And so
Exactly.
and that can also actually his story when it comes to like just music and business and everything like that,
Right.
to a certain degree, man, it kind of feels like us. You're doing your thing in real estate. You're doing your thing with the Shopify store. Which, by the way, I'm still proud of you for all that stuff, man.
I
You
appreciate it, sir.
doing up with that one. I'm doing one thing in marketing. I have my own clothing line, everything like that. My wife now, she says she wants to be more involved with that.
Very nice.
Um, I'm like,
Before you go
cool.
forward, I want to let you know there's a Calvin Bazier is going to contact you because he wants to set up a website. I gave him your information on Friday. I meaning to tell you that.
My
And
man.
he says he's going to contact you because he wants to set up a website for his business because he wants to get into the whole, the making money per Amazon clicks links. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
he wants to. So he's like, who do you know that can make a website? I said, I got the person right for you. So he should be contacting you soon.
Which is actually kind of funny because uh, uh, Anthony Jones, he actually had a person that needed a website design on Facebook recommended him to me,
Very nice.
contacting me and everything like that. So I'm actually I just talked to my team about maybe an hour ago about just get their mock-up up straight and everything like that,
Got you.
which is actually kind of funny because his wife is actually no, I'll tell you offline everything like that.
Got you.
But she was actually our graduating class, and she was actually at the reunion.
Okay, nice. So I probably just
So
ran into her.
yeah, so when he told me, I'm like, yeah, I know her. And he was like, I guess he showed her like my favorite picture. He's like, oh yeah, Christian Rollingwood, yeah, we know that. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, I know you like I would expect it like for Garfield, but I know Christian Rollingwood. I'm like, hey, well, okay.
Oh yeah, I mean you know how that goes, brother.
I mean, I'll say this. This is why I love the town that we grew up from, man, because you don't. I didn't expect that to a certain degree. I'm like, I know people will say, "Hey, I know you, hey, blah blah," blah. But when you get the love from people you ain't spoke to, literally, I haven't seen her since maybe sophomore year of college. That's almost 20 years, basically
Wow.
about 20 years. And the fact that like, yo, yeah, Chris from Ottawa, yeah, we cool and everything like that. All that. So I'm like, it it's almost like justifiable that that I made an impact about somebody and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you just never know, and that's why it was also almost heartfelt. And when I look at those pictures, everything like, man, I know if I was there, man, at the reunion, it would have been on
Oh, you
because
already know.
if I would have if I was able to get there, I know D Nice would have showed up. Uh,
Right.
Bill from Jersey. He would have showed up, and we
Got you.
all clicking. It would have been one hell of a party.
I know that's right. When you're right,
Shit.
you're right on that one. When you're right, you're right on that one. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and before I close, I will say, I know 50 Cent, we're talking about him. He wasn't perfect because, he started a beef with everybody, but
Yeah.
that's who he was. But the only time I think it actually resulted in actual, combat is when he actually had an internal beef with the game and whatnot, because the game was bona fide from the streets, and he actually he chartered a plane and took a whole crew of Bloods to New York, and I think they had a shootout and whatnot, and then after that they finally squashed their beef.
Now the beef that 50 really had, game was an internal beef because he just was getting the shine that he thought he was going to have. No, the
Right.
beef that he had with him and Ja Rule was real,
Yeah.
not because of Ja, but because of Kenneth Supreme McGruff. And
Got you.
anybody knows from Queens know who the Supreme is.
Got you.
He was one of those guys that you either gotta watch out for him or you're gonna have to go through him.
Got you.
He's one of those guys. And Irv Gotti was connected with Supreme, and that whole thing, and 50 was going at both of them. That's what that was.
Yeah.
That was real beef. And ironically, to a certain degree, there was a more real beef between also with Fat Joe as well, because back then, Fat Joe is not as kumbaya as he is now, but back then he was still with Terror Squad, and you know how Terror Squad got down in the Bronx. He had
Right.
people everywhere. So that was a whole nother situation. But outside of that, most of the stuff 50 did was for marketing. But the real beef he had between two groups of people, and he still, I still say that vitamin water deal was one of the best deals I ever heard in my life, because who knew about uh, energy, like a drink like that? So
Right.
for $4.5 billion, and he only paid in 10%. That's why we got to get our money up and and go to California and get in the tables before they come out.
Exactly. I
Okay,
don't disagree.
because a comedian are doing that right now.
You,
He doing that right now. He ain't come back to Houston. He's still out there.
oh yeah, yeah. Because I mean, he's found a niche that he's really excelled at. So he's like,
Hmm.
when you're excelling at something, you could, and then you're making all these contacts, you're building all
Yeah,
these relationships. Let's just be realistic about it. It's
yeah.
like
So
it
we
just
got to
makes
get our
sense.
money up for that. Like, don't get me wrong, investing money in the stock market, everything like that. But I want to see a company from the ground up.
I know that's right.
If you got a serious passion to do something from the ground up, I have no problem fronting you some money to do something long. I'm getting something back in return.
Exactly. Yeah, because
So
the Bay. I mean, you can say people can say what they want about the Bay Area. Yeah, it's the most expensive piece of real estate in the continental United States, but that's where the deals happen. New York is where the
well,
deals happen. People,
mhm.
even as crazy as it in California, New York, some of the most expensive states in the country. Nobody denies that, but the deals still happen there. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
But
So you want to?
yeah, I need to get going. But there's my link. Put it up there.
No
But I gotta
problem.
get going because my daughter's crying, so I gotta get her.
Okay, well, Daddy duty's call. So,
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later, man.
all right, man. Have a great night, brother. Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
peace.
in. Take
Hmm.
care. All right, family. Don't forget to check out my man's business, Reaching Out Consultant. If you have a business and you're looking to get more revenue, more people to check out your website and things of that nature, and he can build websites for you all at the same time. Check him out. This is a nice long broadcast. Did not expect this to be as long as it was tonight, but it's all good in the neighborhood. So definitely reach out to him because Reaching Out Consultant and the business owner is Christopher Edwards. He's based out of San Antonio. Check him out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's discussion. It's been great. It's been over a month now since I've had anybody on to have a discussion, especially Chris. So I greatly appreciate that. Anyways, Yasin. Hope all is well. Thanks again for the Cash App, brother. It's really greatly appreciated. I always invest the money back into the Larry's Anything Goes brand. All right. So on that note, this is great free things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're gonna live, bro, like a fool, family. And I'm out.
Now.